Different levels, I cannot relate. You never win if you playing it safe. It's all a game until you get played.
Welcome to It's Culture Podcast. My name is Mark. Tonight is a Sunday night episode. And happy Easter to everybody. If you celebrate the resurrection, happy Easter to you. And to those who decided to partake in a little bit of canterbury, happy 420 to you as well. So a lot going on this weekend. A lot going on in the news this past weekend. And I picked out a couple of topics tonight to go over some. Let's just start. So last week I was talking about how there were people out trying to make this Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf, Frisco, Texas stabbing at the high school about everything but a tragic incident that should never have occurred. If level heads would have prevailed, if people wouldn't have just minded their own business, a lot of things could have happened that would not have taken place. But now we have this situation. And so there was a group who was trying to make it about race. And it's a January 6th pardonee, someone that got arrested because they decided to storm the Capitol building, and Donald Trump, the president, decided to pardon these people for whatever reason. I don't know. But he decided that he was going to have a rally called Protect White America. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then Target. They're feeling the blowback from their rollback of DE&I, and the foot traffic is starting to slow down, and it's affecting shareholders' stocks and sales and everything else. So they decided that they were going to meet with Al Sharpton, of all people. Excuse me. Yeah, they met with Al Sharpton over the weekend. Good Lord. And so we're going to talk about that and why they meeting with Al Sharpton. I have no idea, but we're going to discuss that. And then I got to circle back to these nominations for all these cabinet positions. And I remember when I talked about these and I said I didn't know what Trump was thinking when he decided to hire Pete Hegseth as the defense secretary. But now he finds himself without any of the leadership around him. I don't know what's going on at the Pentagon, but we're going to talk about that as well. So I thank everybody for tuning in to It's Culture Podcast. This is the show where I discuss everything from hip hop to sports to trending topics in the news to politics to local stuff to corruption in politics. You name it, I cover it here on this show. So if you're new to the channel, just hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates when I go live. And to everybody who has subscribed to the channel, we keep growing, y'all. Every day the channel grows, and that's because people like you tune in and subscribe and give your feedback. I try my best to comment back on all the comments that I see when people post on my videos. So if you comment, I try to comment back. So let's get the dialogue started. So as I was saying earlier, there was a rally in Frisco, Texas that went down over the weekend. This was held by a group called Protect White Americans from Black Violence. Yes. There is a group of people out here who for some reason, they believe that they need to protect white people from getting hurt in violence by black folks. Talk about virtue signaling. But they had this rally, and it was supposed to be in the honor of Austin Metcalf, the young teen who tragically lost his life in a stabbing incident that happened at a Frisco Independent School District track meet that has caused a lot of social media, I guess you would say, outcry about it. And from the get-go, I have, on this channel, I have articulated the point and made it my view that it should not have never been about race. This was always just a tragic incident that happened between two kids. If cooler heads would have prevailed, maybe this wouldn't have happened. It's a tragic situation that a lot of people can learn from. But in the midst of this, you have the kid who has been charged with first degree murder, Carmelo Anthony. His mother just did a press conference because they have been getting attacked online and attacked and threatened and death threats and all kind of stuff that has been shielded their way for no reason whatsoever by people who have nothing better else to do but to drum up fear and hatred. And then you have the Metcalf family who's trying to grieve, and the dad has been open from the get-go that this was not about race. He didn't want to make it about race, and he didn't want to be associated with anything dealing with that narrative being put out there. So these people decided that they were going to go to Frisco, have a rally at the school. They had been promoting this online. They had been trying to find a venue to do it. And finally, one of the schools allowed them to come. It was actually the school where the stabbing took place, and they had this rally. So I want to let y'all listen to a little bit of what was being said there. Now, mind you, online, it was being promoted as if there were going to be thousands and thousands of people at this rally. So some people showed up to see how many people were going to be there. Well, let's just say the crowd was way less than 1,000. It probably was no more than 10 people, if that. And the majority of the people who actually were there were actually media people who were there to film it, just in case there were some counter protesters, which there were. And it got a little rowdy. So let's take a look at what happened at this rally, because I just want y'all to hear this guy. He's one of these January 6 guys. He got arrested and pardoned, but he's speaking at this rally. Take a listen.
And my white friends, where they've been put down, they've been treated like trash just because they're white. And there's so many people say, oh, it's not true, it's not true. It is true. I see it day after day, month after month, year after year, and I'm tired of the anti-white racism. I'm tired of the anti-white hate. I'm tired of the anti-white violence. I will stand on top of a damn bus and scream that we are going to end this shit right now. Woo! That's my brother Philip Anderson. Philip Anderson is a January 6th patriot and
Yeah. Somebody Anderson. He was up there at the rally, just making his presence known, I guess. Don't you see, with a lot of people out there, saw somebody on the ground just kind of flopping over like, oh my God, they're crying. It just don't make any sense. But then what makes it even sickening, right? Because like as I said, Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, from the get-go has said that he didn't want this to be about race at all. He didn't want any parts of it to be done about race. He didn't want that narrative to be drawn up. He's a Christian guy. He already forgiven them. He just wants to move on. But no, these people will not respect his wishes. So the guy who actually is the president of this group, his name is Jake Lang. He's another January 6th guy who got arrested. He absolutely called Jeff Metcalf on the phone at the rally and wanted him to come out there and speak or say something. And I want you to listen to what Mr. Metcalf said. And if you can't hear him, just read the words on the screen, because you're going to see every single thing that he says to this guy. Take a listen.
would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Now, before he starts, you see, he just said, "Hey, would you mind being come out here and just stand with me at a press conference, and so we can do this." God bless his young soul. He would be such a guy for our cause. Listen to Mr. Metcalf.
Yes, I am, sir.
I am not trying to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. Do not have any.
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I'm giving your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir.
I mean, so y'all hear Jeff Metcalf? He said, "Take my son's picture off of your website. I don't want to be associated with y'all. You're causing more problems. You're trying to cause a race divide. You're not trying to bring people together." And the guy just blows him off and says, "You know what? You're causing more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir." How are you going to tell this man that he's being weak because he don't want you to use his son for some proxy race war that you're trying to start? This man is grieving. He's absolutely grieving, and he's right. He don't want his son to be propped up as some freaking martyr for some cause that he don't stand for. And if that's not the type of people that they are, then why don't you respect this man's wishes? That's because they don't give a damn. They was expecting him to come out there, say a bunch of stuff, draw up a narrative so they can continue on to push whatever it is that they're trying to push. There's more this unite the right bullshit that started in Charlottesville. It's more the same. And for some reason, you got these people out here that think like this, who are spewing hate and trying to say that they're trying to protect people, white people from black folks, as if black people are just magically just walking around committing violence against white people just out of the sheer fact because we just don't like white people. Like, what? This makes no sense at all. This doesn't help at all. This doesn't do anything to bridge a gap. This doesn't try to help race relations. All this does is drive more wedges and more division. And this is what some people, this is what they get paid to do. They get paid to do this. They don't care anything about this man's family. They don't care about the situation of what's going on. They don't want to respect this man's wishes. All they care about is spinning a narrative so they can use whatever propaganda there is to go out here and harass and torture or either try to harm black people because they say that they fear for their lives. Get out of here with that, man. So kudos to Mr. Metcalf for pushing back on this nonsense. And I'm glad that he pushed back on this because this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't help the situation none whatsoever. All it does is continue to divide. And like I said in one of my previous videos, there are people out here that are getting paid to do this. They don't care anything about trying to unite the country, trying to have us live amongst each other harmoniously. They don't care anything about that. Their only job is to sow hate and discontent and to drive more wedges for some mystical or some magical race war that they're trying to drum up. And I'm glad that there are people out there that have common sense enough to not push this narrative and don't want this stuff to be going on. Shame on them. In other news, you know, when the boycotts first started, when DE and I and you start hearing people talk about boycotts, Al Sharpton wasn't one of the first people that came out. The very first time that I saw anything about a boycott for Target or any other companies that didn't support DE&I came from Tamika Mallory's group, Until Freedom. And then I saw Pastor Jamal Bryant tell his congregation at New Birth Church in Atlanta that he wanted to go on a 40-day fast from Target up until Easter. And they were going to start that 40-day fast. And he was promoting the 40-day fast. But I didn't see Al Sharpton talking about boycotting Target. So it's very ironic that in the midst of all this stuff that's going on with Target, they decided that they wanted to meet with Al Sharpton. Target, over the last couple of months, has faced a lot of backlash for the rollback of their DE&I programs and their highlighting of black businesses inside of their stores. You know, Target had an initiative where they were promoting black businesses, small entrepreneurs who really, you know, were trying to make their way, but because of inventory or, you know, lack of capital, you know, their businesses really weren't getting highlighted like that besides word of mouth and maybe, you know, doing trade shows or either like festivals and stuff. So Target was really, you know, helping these entrepreneurs out, get their products in the stores. And they had like a little feature aisle. They weren't just doing it for black people. They had other inspired artists in there for different themes, which was very, very good. You know, I know when it came to some certain hair care products and stuff like that, you have different textures. Target was doing a great job with their marketing for that because some of these products were getting, you know, people saw them on Instagram and next thing you know, they're in Target stores. So right after the election, Target decided that they were going to roll back all of their programs for DE&I. And like I said, Until Freedom came out and said, we're going to start boycotting. And so people stopped shopping at Target. The foot traffic in Target started to decrease. And the amplification of this kept going. And you saw, you know, Pastor Jamal Bryant talking about his 40-day fast and telling his parishioners not to shop at Target. And that was catching on. And people were not going to Target. And the shareholders felt it because their first quarter stock, their sales have plummeted. Their foot traffic into their stores have plummeted. And it continues to plummet. So the CEO decided to meet with Al Sharpton. Not Until Freedom. Not Pastor Jamal Bryant. Not the people who actually organized, who started this rally. No, we don't meet with them. We're going to meet with Al Sharpton. So let's go see what Al Sharpton does. Al Sharpton goes up in there and meets with them. Nobody knows what was discussed, but apparently Al Sharpton said it was quote unquote constructive. And that he wasn't going to call for a boycott of Target unless they did not show their commitment to black communities and black businesses. Now, here's the thing. Some of the black businesses are still, their products are still being showcased inside of Target. They don't have it like broadcast in the store. You have to go in there and see if the products are on the shelf. They don't have it like marketed like they used to, where you can find like a little booth or something, a little pop-up right next to the stuff to say, hey, you know, we're over here. They don't do that anymore. They don't have none of that marketing material. So you have to go into the stores. So Al Sharpton has said he's not calling for this. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know what particularly Al Sharpton is supposed to be doing, but I don't know how many people actually listen to Al Sharpton in the black community anymore. I don't know if he's the best representation of what black folks see when they see someone in the community trying to get anything done, because it seems like he only shows up when it's time for him to try to get something for himself. And I don't know if this is going to be one of those situations, but it kind of reminds me of that. Kind of reminds me. Just show up, get a check real quick, and then all of a sudden all is well is good. We don't know what was said. He didn't discuss. I guess he's going to discuss this stuff with Pastor Jamal Bryant, because he's made a statement saying, hey, he was going to talk to some people to tell them what he found out. my thing is, if you knew that you had this meeting, why didn't you say, hey, I'm bringing these people with me? Because they're the ones who actually organized this. This is the problem that I have with some of these leaders, these quote unquote civil rights leaders, these people who want to be in these civil rights positions, is the fact that if you didn't start something or you didn't organize it in the first place, then why don't you bring the voices of the people who actually started it, who actually got motion? Why are you always trying to stifle growth? Like, you're not going to be here forever. Al, you're old, okay? Your voice don't ring as like it used to back in the day. That group of people who follow you, that group is slowly dwindling down because those people are dying off. And you're not retooling the bench because you don't want to give up your spot, because it makes it seem like it's, they don't want to be emeritus. They don't want to be the OGs. They still want to be out there showing, hey, I still got it. No, man, it's time to step to the side. It's time to step to the side. So I'm a little mad about this because there may have been some other people that could have been in that room that could have spoke truth to power. There's some other voices in the community that are young, that are vibrant, that got energy, that could have been in that room, that are more in touch with what the grassroots really want. But they don't call those people because this wasn't about trying to get anything done. This was about trying to convince Al Sharpton to go back out here and tell black folks it's okay to shop at Target. That's what this was about. Or let's just see if Target makes a contribution to the National Action Network. Then we're gonna know exactly what's going on. If Al changes his position, we'll know. We'll know. All you gotta do is follow the money. That's all you gotta do in these situations. And then finally, the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth is running the Pentagon like it's a social club. Like I told y'all, when the very first time he got nominated and I spoke about this, I said that he reminded me of some frat boy. And he really does. And as a veteran, I can tell you the one thing that I look for in the Secretary of Defense is somebody with a proven track record of leadership. Somebody who earned the stripes. And just because somebody was an officer, that does not mean that they were in a leadership role. Especially if they're a junior officer, because chances are there was a senior enlisted member right there beside them, guiding them, mentoring them, because they were making mistakes. And in this case, Trump really made an absolute idiotic mistake nominating, and then these senators to even willfully go along with this crap from both sides of the aisle, even though it was just the Republicans, to even sit up there as a Republican and to say that you're going to save the country, you're about patriotism, and to allow this man to go and become the Secretary of Defense is absolutely crazy. Because ever since he's been in there, it's been screw up after screw up after screw up. We're talking about the removal of the Tuskegee Airmen from training material. We talk about Jackie Robinson being removed from the Pentagon's website for history. Prominent figures having their history erased from the Arlington National Cemetery website. You got prominent admirals and generals being relieved of duty for no reason, simply because someone said, quote unquote, they're DE&I. Not to mention these people got 30, 40 plus, almost 40 plus years of experience. But now all of a sudden they're DE&I. And let's not forget about the screw up with the quote unquote signal chat, where a plan for a strike was talked about across a messaging app like it was a text conversation, a group chat. Just like, hey, like you're talking with your homeboys, we're going to talk about highly classified and sensitive information that could have put soldiers at risk. We just talking about it freely on Signal. And then, oh yeah, by the way, we just got some random journalist who shouldn't be in the Signal chat. He just happens to be privy to all of this. This is what's going on in our Pentagon. These are people that are supposed to be watching and guarding and keeping us safe. I don't understand how this goes on, but this is Trump's person. This is the ultimate DE&I hire. Did not earn it at all. At all. And now his top leadership, the people that are around him, all of them have either resigned or been caught up in some type of quote unquote scandal, and they all had to be relieved. Let's take a listen.
Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and the Pentagon are currently embroiled in turmoil after multiple firings and plenty of staff changes. It's the latest controversy amid an investigation into leaks at the agency and after war plans were shared over a Signal chat. We now know that Pete Hegseth's Chief of Staff, Joe Casper, will be leaving his role in the coming days. We've also learned that 3 top Pentagon officials who were put on leave amid these leaks were all fired, that is, on Friday. Now, this now leaves Secretary Hegseth without a Chief of Staff, Deputy Chief of Staff, or Senior Advisor. The 3 fired officials released a statement today saying that their character was slandered.
Deputy Chief, Senior Advisor, top brass at the Pentagon, all gone. Who is actually advising Pete Hegseth now? There's nobody there to make sure that he stays on track, make sure he makes his meetings, make sure he's scheduled for stuff. He don't have any of that anymore. Are we winning yet, y'all? This seems like absolute just anarchy. This kind of is similar to what happened the first time Trump was in office. The first time all these people around him in his orbit, the people that talk so highly about him, got cabinet positions, and here we are again with the same type of locker room, frat boyish type crap going on, this time at the Pentagon. I suspect that Pete Hegseth is probably not going to last too much longer as Secretary of Defense. I just don't see him making it all 4 years. I just don't see it. Now, he may end up making it all 4 years, but I just can't see the sheer level of the incompetency that is coming from him, because everybody around him in his orbit seems to be always getting him caught up in something. Now, I don't know what the Chief of Staff, the Deputy Chief of Staff, and the Senior Advisor did. All I know is when it got reported, they showed up to work, and then they got escorted right back out the building. Security escorted these men out of the building. They got placed on leave. And then all of a sudden, they got either forced to resign or they were fired. And they're saying that their character is being assassinated because they don't even know what they're being accused of doing. Now, maybe this is more of the cleanup from the quote-unquote DE&I stuff, or maybe it might be the backlash that the Pentagon has received for the leaks of the Signal chat. And this is not the first one, because there's actual 2 leaks. There is a newest one that some things got leaked across a Signal chat. Another strike or something that's just coming about. So all these leaks of information across Signal chats, you got all this backlash they're receiving from everybody in regards to Jackie Robinson and the Tuskegee Airmen and all these things that are coming out of the Pentagon. And now, not to mention, we still are dealing with the Ukraine and Russian war. We still are dealing with issues in Africa, in the Congo. You still got issues going on in the Middle East. You got a trade war going on with China. You got issues in Hong Kong and Taiwan. Should I go on? And he's supposed to be the man that's supposed to have the military in a position so in case it's time for us to defend ourselves, that we are war ready. I don't know if we're war ready right now. At least not with him leading it. He seemed like he take this job like it's like some high to him. You know, like he's not taking it serious. Like he don't know the magnitude of the position that he holds. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, you know, hey, I'm the Secretary of Defense. Look at me. like it's some side job or something when there's lives at risk. I just don't trust this guy. There are a few positions in government to which you kind of look at and you want to make sure that you got competent people there. Number one, we can't have some floozy at the FBI as the FBI director. Number two, when it comes to intelligence, the CIA and the DNI director has to be top notch. Some people who got skilled and understand the way of the world and know how to navigate intelligence and keep it safe and classified. Number three, the defense secretary. Actually, that's number four, the defense secretary. You cannot play around with the defense of our country and our protection. And then the rest of the National Security Council, whoever the Joint Chiefs are, as well as the top brass from all 5 branches of service. And if you want to include the Coast Guard in there as the 6th, then you summarily can. But that core group of people there have to be some of the most competent, because anything could pop off in the world, and these are the people that you're going to be looking to be advising you on what's necessary to ensure the safety and security of the United States. And we got a breach right now. And in the Navy, when they used to call general quarters and they tell us that we going into damage control and we had to go do some pipe patching, we used to go in there and patch up the holes. You can't pipe patch this one. Nah, we got to cut this whole section out and re-weld in a whole new pipe, because Pete Hegseth is just not it. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This guy's just not competent. So, well, that does it for the show tonight. I thank everybody for tuning in. Thursday night, we're going to do another live show, 8 o'clock Eastern. Is when I do these. I do these shows every Thursday and Sunday. I might be adding in a third one, but I just don't know yet. Live shows don't really seem like they're not really getting a lot of views, so I may just go back to just doing just recorded shows and just post them. But we'll see how this goes. I'm testing this out. Been doing it for about a month now, just to kind of test it out to see how I like doing live shows. Don't really know if I really like them or not, but we'll see. But until next time, thank you all for tuning in, and let's Coach Nation. Let's keep it coaching. See you later.